roadblocks scheduled today on either Highway 70 or 54 South. For the latest roadblock information, call 575-678-1178. Tonight's forecast is calling for mostly cloudy skies, 40% chance of rain in the basin, 60% for the mountains. In Alamogordo, low of 65, Cloudcroft, low 47. For tomorrow, we're looking at mostly cloudy skies with a 40% chance of rain, a little bit better up in the mountains. Alamogordo tomorrow, high of 85, low of 61. Cloudcroft tomorrow, high of 66, overnight low of 49 degrees.
This is the Roundup on ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. Going from the Tularosa Basin and beyond, this is your local connection to the world of sports. From high school to college and to the pros, we cover the latest news and the biggest stories. Don't forget, this is your show. Change the topic anytime. Call us at 437-1230. The Roundup starts right now. ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. Welcome into the Roundup here on your Wednesday. Everybody's having a good one. We're a couple days away from getting back to football. We've got, 3 volleyball tournaments for area teams this weekend. I posted all the information for it. It's pool play than bracket play, so hopefully not too confusing for anybody that you play every team in your pool. Then some of the brackets you have a second round of pool play. Some of them you just have one. Trust me, we'll get to the end of it, and there'll be some matches that actually have. The thing is with pool play, that doesn't count towards your record. The only matches that count are the bracket play matches. So I think Alamogordo only gets 2 matches out of their tournament. Same goes for, I believe, Thule. Now I think Mescalero might get 3. I'll have to go back and look at their stuff, but they might only get 2 as well. So it's a 2-day tournament, and more importantly, you get chances to play against some good teams and different teams, and even if it doesn't count towards your record, you get an opportunity to play in a competitive environment. So it's interesting in my mind. So last night we had Alamogordo girls soccer 3-1, losing to Hobbs. Certainly an improvement over the trip out there. They lost 6-0 in the first game, but fell behind 3-0. Apologies. Had to hit the sneeze button. Fell behind 3-0. Did get a late goal and a nice cross. Michaela Nielsen found Dion Molina. Lady Tigers had some chances. The goals that they gave up in the match were, one of them they weren't especially aggressive with a defender. One was a long ball that was a tough play for the goalie. And I'm trying to remember the first. Now, the first goal I think was kind of a one-on-one, and the player shot from pretty decent distance and was able to get it past the goalie. So, not ideal. Certainly not what the Lady Tigers were looking for from yesterday. And still they're, against 5A teams, they haven't quite found a big victory yet this year. Now, Centennial, I was chatting with somebody yesterday about girls soccer in Cruces. Centennial's probably the best team in that district, which starts next week, by the way, and that's the one that Alamogordo is involved in. I know this is going to be, especially this time of year with football, because that's going to feel a little bit confusing because Alamo football plays in a district with Artesia and Roswell and Goddard. Pretty much all the rest of the sports are playing in the Cruces district. So all the Cruces schools, Gadsden and Deming, is the soccer, volleyball, and cross country during the fall sports season. So just a heads up on that. Hobbs girls soccer's solid. Just from getting a chance to watch them in person yesterday, they're very good. I thought Carlsbad was good. But that all being said, I feel like Alamogordo, at least the Hobbs match that I saw and the Carlsbad match, I thought the Lady Tigers could have won those 2 matches. And, offensively just didn't quite have it in the last third in a lot of occasions. And some good goalie play. I thought Hobbs had some good goalie play yesterday. She made some nice stops. And defensively, just, 1 or 2 spots where they don't play their best, and, goalkeeping as well. And, that's kind of the difference for the Lady Tigers in the two matches that I saw. Now, as for Centennial and the first Hobbs match, it seems like a little bit of a wider margin there. But to me, there's no doubt that Alamogordo can, on the girls' side, that they can compete for the district. Just got to see some things improve. But that's going to be an interesting district. Gadsden and Deming are, they're going to bring up, the 5th and 6th place, or I guess it'd be 6th and 7th. I'm curious to see Mayfield, Oñate, Las Cruces High, where Alamogordo slots in with those schools. Because it sounds like Centennial's the best of the group, and Alamo hasn't seen the rest of the district. So, the exception of Deming, who they played in that tournament. But, from last year, we kind of knew Alamo they'll be fine against Deming and Gadsden. It's the Cruces schools, and where does Alamogordo slot in against them? And I don't know yet, but I'll tell you right now that the talent that the Lady Tigers have, they're capable of, I feel like, beating anybody. The one or the two negatives for Alamo girls soccer is, across the board they don't have a bunch of seniors. They are spread out in terms of, a senior here, a couple seniors there, a couple juniors, then sophomores and freshmen, and sometimes younger. So I mean, they've definitely got some inexperience in some spots, and size is another thing that, and I think especially against the Cruces schools that could end up. And you saw it yesterday against Hobbs. A couple of their forwards were probably pushing 6 feet, and just had a size advantage. And sometimes that can make a difference. Sometimes I think the athleticism of the Alamo players is their advantage. They're fast. They are extremely agile, can make moves maybe sometimes the other players can't. So, yeah, you may have that disadvantage, but I feel like they have that other advantage as well. So we'll see what district looks like. We'll probably talk more about it next week when everybody's, played all their games headed into district. Hard to believe, right? And the boys are a week away from getting into district as well. Boys didn't play yesterday. I'll say it again, hearing a lot of differing stories about the reason that game was canceled yesterday. None of them that I would dare throw out there, just because there's a lot of different facets to what's being thrown out there. I do think it's fair to say that weather wasn't the reason. I know that may be an official reason given by somebody or put out there by somebody, but yeah, the weather here I think was about basically the same as it was in Hobbs yesterday. Could be wrong, but very rarely do schools cancel games in the fear of future weather, possible weather. So, kind of curious to see what happens out of that, if they do reschedule or not. So, we'll see. Also, volleyball last night. Alamogordo loses to the defending 5A state champs in Los Lunas in straight sets. Seemed to be pretty competitive in a couple of sets there, but Lady Tigers dropped to 3-2. They'll play at the Jane Leupold Sweet 16 tournament in Las Cruces coming up this weekend in a pool with, I know it's Mayfield is one of them. Mayfield and Gadsden, and I think Santa Teresa is the other team. Let me see. Yeah. And other teams taking part: Cruces High, Socorro, Ruidoso Chaparral, Oñate, Silver City, Roswell High, Las Cruces JV, Centennial, Artesia, Loretto from the El Paso area, and Deming. So, one El Paso school. Used to be another, I'm trying to remember who it was. Was it Jefferson or somebody else that would go to that tournament, and now I guess not anymore. But I think it's the first time I've seen them having to fill out that with a JV team. I'm impressed some of these tournaments that are able to pull in 12 and 16 teams. When I look at how challenging it is for a lot of the basketball tournaments to be able to fill out their entire bracket, the volleyball tournaments do a pretty impressive job. By the way, these games are going to be played across all the high schools in Las Cruces, so it's interesting. Or it's going to be fun for them to be able to move around and bounce around all those different places. And the pool play is hosted by, so Centennial's pool is at Centennial, Mayfield, Oñate, Cruces High. You can get how it goes. But that starts on Friday. Mescalero, as I mentioned, is at Estancia starting on Friday. They're in a pool with Raybeth Christian, Cottonwood. I know there's another. It's an academy of some kind, but I can't remember what exactly its full name is. Loving is also in their pool. On the other side, Estancia, Capitan, Vaughn, and the Rio Rancho JV team. Tell you what, the Rio Rancho JV team probably can do well against 2A and 3A programs across the state for as good as Rio Rancho volleyball usually is. And over at Magdalena, Tularosa taking part in a tournament with... So I'm guessing the Socorro in the Las Cruces tournament is Socorro from Texas, because Socorro also taking part in the Magdalena tournament, but I think that's Socorro, New Mexico would be my guess, especially with it being right there. So I'm going to guess that that's Socorro, Texas in the Cruces tournament. Pine Hill, Magdalena, Animas, Alamo, and Alamo Navajo, I'm sure. Mountain Air, Cuba, Lordsburg, Tehajali, Reserve, Mesa Vista, all the teams taking part in that pool play. And then, of course, the bracket play after that. So 12 teams taking part in that tournament. So that information up on our Facebook, up on Twitter, if you want to kind of cruise through it. You know, again, they'll send teams to brackets based on how they perform in the pool play, and we'll have, you know, the matches that each team plays. I mean, certainly if you know any of the area teams are playing for championships, we'll keep you up to speed on all of that stuff. So just a heads up. No soccer this weekend. They're off. They get a week off before, unless Alamo decides to reschedule that Hobbs game. But they're off this weekend, headed towards district on Tuesday. Cross country tomorrow as they host the Alamogordo Invitational. That'll start at 4 p.m. And then a reminder, they also have the Black and Gold 5K coming up on Friday. So that's a fundraising event for Alamogordo Cross Country to be a part of that. And again, Alamogordo Cross Country, I think I saw the Alamogordo Public Schools Facebook page share that today. So there's something you can get involved in. And of course, we got football. And we're going to talk football. It's Wednesday, so Coach A.J. Cisco, expect to have him in the studio today, and we'll chat with him about the game coming up against Ruidoso, which, by the way, because I learned something new today. I've never been to Ruidoso's football stadium. It's right there off of Highway 70. The football stadium is not at the high school, for those of you that may be traveling, don't know. And I can say I didn't know until I chatted with the folks up there in Ruidoso this morning. So basically right behind the McDonald's is my understanding. They're off of Sutterth and 70. So you don't have to kind of weave your way back into town at all for you to get to the stadium on Friday. And I guess it's kind of down. It drops down a little bit in there. So if you're driving by on 70, you may not see it right away. Just have to trust. And then again, there's a lot of you that may spend a lot of time in Ruidoso, and you know exactly where it is. So just for any of you that are planning to make the trip up there, and I get the feeling a lot of Tiger fans will make the trip up there. I'd be really surprised, to not take a 35, 40-minute drive up the hill to check that out. Seems like a fun idea to me. Hopefully the weather holds out. I'm crossing my fingers on that. Obviously up into the mountains this time of year is still a little iffy, but maybe by that time of day everything will have moved out and no big deal. But sometimes not the case. I should probably stop talking about it. I'm going to jinx it. And of course we got Thule football hosting Lordsburg. Cloudcroft goes to Loving, and Mescalero Apache faces the Tularosa JV this weekend. Had to think about that one for a second. So, something we didn't get a chance to do yesterday was talk about some of the other scores from around the state, and one of those being on last Friday, the 70-49 win for El Dorado from Albuquerque over Las Cruces High. Surprised. I didn't. Surprised is not the right word. I sat here last Friday morning and said El Dorado in these games last year did really well. Now, Cruces coming off their win over Manzano, you felt like 70-42 was the final, by the way. You felt like I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, especially at home. But not exactly a great sign for Cruces. Giving up 70 to anybody is not good. Now, mind you, they were, you could certainly argue in the game at some points there. The fact that you were able to put up 42, but even so, I don't know if they were ever in the game. They gave up 26 first quarter points and 23 second quarter points. Not ideal. Would that be the way to describe that? So, just just an unfortunate one there for the Bulldogs. And I was trying to get a box score out of this, but I guess that wasn't going to happen. Let's see if I can try it this way. If I can. No, it doesn't appear so. So anyway, I think, was it Gabe Smith? Is that the quarterback for? Yeah. Gabe Smith had an incredible game for El Dorado. They were talking about how they, and it's still Charlie Dotson who's coaching at El Dorado, and he's been in El Dorado forever. And, he was, I think, talking to either the Cruces Sun News or the Albuquerque Journal, basically saying, I'm not sure I've ever had a quarterback play that well in a game. You're talking about a guy that's been coaching high school football for that long to say something like that. That's a nice compliment there for Gabe Smith. I'm sure he's got to feel pretty good about that, but I'm sure they're on to the next week. And so, you're back into a discussion in that classification of, who's the number one, who's the best, and also who are we in area-wise, who are the best teams this year. And I know Cruces and Southern people are going to, southern part of the state people are going to hate this, but at least in 6A, the power's in the metro area right now. Cleveland's number 1, El Dorado's number 2. They face each other this week, by the way, on Thursday. Then La Cueva. They do have Centennial 4. Cruces, Clovis, so 4, 5, 6. And then it kind of falls off after that. Volcano Vista, Carlsbad, Cibola, and Manzano. But we're through 2 games this season. Probably not good to overreact one way or the other on anything, but certainly El Dorado and Cleveland have made their case probably better than anybody else. So, what are some of the other scores? Cleveland beat Franklin 35-21. That's a nice win for them. Franklin's first game of the year. Cleveland, of course, already played. They beat Oñate last week. Alamo's opponent this week, Ruidoso, beat Hatch 28-13. The final score there. Not sure what Hatch is doing offensively. If there's still some remnants, holdovers of what the Ciscos were doing over there previously. I don't know if that'll be an advantage. It made new coaches, new everything. Hard to know if that will have any impact there. So, and I'm not sure if the Ciscos even really have any idea what exactly Hatch is doing these days, but kind of a curious one. Roswell beat Lovington 56-14. That was their first game of the year, so Lovington maybe at that level, not ready to compete with that group. But remember, they're in a classification below Roswell and Artesia and Goddard, where they had been playing previously, so maybe they'll have a little bit better go of it in 4A coming up this year. Clovis beat Aztec 49-20, went on the road. Clovis looks pretty solid this year. They've got to play some Albuquerque teams, and I'm trying to remember which Albuquerque district they're a part of, if they're a part of that El Dorado district. Yeah, so they've got El Dorado and La Cueva in their district, so that's going to be really interesting come the end of the season. And Manzano's no slouch. Sandia's probably the team that's kind of left out in that whole balance of power in Class 6A. So that'll be fun to watch coming up later this season. Grants beat Gallup. That's got to be a bit of a rivalry game win for Grants, 26-0. Hope Christian cruises past Espanola Valley. Not a huge shocker there. Manzano beat Rio Grande. Definitely not a huge shocker there. I think Rio Grande's to, 39, 40 straight losses. Feel bad for those kids. We talked, I think, a fair amount about Artesia Hobbs yesterday, which I'm not surprised that Hobbs won. I'm just surprised that Artesia gave up that big of a lead in the fourth quarter. It's so un-Artesia-like, and I'm sure they're probably, and their fans are probably feeling the same thing. Santa Teresa beat Anthony 45-8. Alamogordo gets Santa Teresa coming up next week. And we'll check in on some of these other scores. We're going to take a commercial break for now, and we'll spend some more time on high school football. We'll give you the rest of the polls from 6A down to 2A, and much more coming up for you here. If you want to call into the show, 437-1230 is the number. And in the next 10 minutes or so, we'll be talking to Alamogordo High School head football coach A.J. Cisco. So stay with us here on the Roundup.
What can Big O Tires do for you? They offer trained and certified ASE technicians, nationwide warranty protection, and state-of-the-art equipment. Services include oil, lube, and filter, batteries, brakes, and alignment. Big O strives to provide dependable and expert service at a great price, a wide range of diagnostic, maintenance, and repair services backed by one of the best national warranties. 621 North White Sands in Alamogordo, 1305 North Main Street in Roswell, and 26131 Highway 70 in Rodoso. Big O Tires.
When you hear the term Outfitters of Champions, you know it's the Winner's Circle. They can do all your custom silk screen and embroidery on hats, shirts, and jackets. Whether it's for your business, team sales, special events, or personal use. The Winner's Circle is the place for quality work at reasonable prices with group and team discounts available. They also customize trophies, personalized plaques, and sporting gear. The Winner's Circle, 1201 10th Street, or give them a call at 437-9373.
Stop by White Sands Motorsports right here in Alamogordo for all your power sport needs. White Sands Motorsports carries Honda, Yamaha, and Roxor. New to the store, Can-Am and Textron side-by-side vehicles. As always, they handle parts and services for all makes and models. For the best power sport deals on 2 or 4 wheels, White Sands Motorsports has got you covered. Open Tuesday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 9:30 to 5. 21070 Highway 70 or visit motorsportsofnewmexico.com. The KNMZ Football Roundtable is back for its 31st season. 5 local business people and their best football prognostications every Friday at 11 a.m. on ESPN Alamogordo. Manny Gonzalez from Charles Garland and Harris Agency. Donna Columbus of First National Bank. Brandon Burling from Desert Sun Auto Group. Timothy Brock of Christ Community Church. And Jake Roberts of Caldwell Banker Sudderth Nelson. The KNMZ Football Roundtable, Fridays at 11 a.m. on Southern New Mexico Sports Leader, ESPN Alamogordo 103.7.
The skills you can develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your skills in science, technology, engineering, and math that can help give you a leg up to a high-paying and rewarding STEM profession. Gain practical experience with emerging technology and equipment not found in the civilian world. The Army National Guard can get you started in an array of STEM-related career fields such as information technology, communication systems, special forces engineers, technical engineering, air traffic control, and chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear science. Get a head start on your career in an exciting new field while earning money to pay for college, all while serving in your own community. Log on to NationalGuard.com or talk to a recruiter in your area to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the New Mexico Army National Guard. Aired by the New Mexico Broadcasters Association and this station.
ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. Welcome back into the Roundup, and we're joined by Alamogordo Tigers head football coach A.J. Cisco. Coach, how you feeling today?
It's Wednesday, man. We're getting closer to Friday, so it's getting exciting.
We are. Not a long road trip. That's kind of nice. You're on the road.
That is a positive. It's only about 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
In a beautiful stadium.
Yeah, and so the fans can make the trip. It's not, I mean, everybody goes up to Rodoso for lots of reasons, so why not make the drive up Highway 70? We'll get to that here in a second. We'll talk about last week a little bit, and we were chatting just a little bit off the air. I thought just better against a better team, and offensively, showed massive improvement from week 1 to 2, and the biggest thing, I thought you guys by no means looked outmatched against Los Lunas on the physical side of things.
No, and that's part of us growing up. So we go back and watch the film, and there was a couple of series that they had a possession where they got 4 downs to get a first down.
Yeah, I was and I was counting it. I was like, incompletion, run, incompletion. Yeah,
so that would have been a stop for us that led to a touchdown, and then we got another stop on 4th down where we didn't get a favorable spot on it. But Los Lunas is number 1 in the state for a reason. They're good, and their quarterback Garland he's a stud. He's a dude, and our kids responded well. I thought the effort that we brought and the attitude we brought and how we played for 4 quarters was tremendous, and that's something that we haven't necessarily done since I've been here, and we got to continue to build on that for this upcoming week. Offensively, we did some things better. Got our quarterback into a little bit of a rhythm, threw the ball well. We still didn't run the ball the way we want to run the ball. So challenges at hand with those offensive linemen again this week is find a way to get better.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, you guys were within 2 scores of the number 1 team in the state in the 4th quarter. I mean, if you guys maybe get a stop on that one drive, you at least got an opportunity to make it a 1-score game there with 7-8 minutes left in the 4th quarter. So that's just knowing opportunities and being able to cash in on those opportunities, I'm sure, is a message to the kids.
Yeah, and that was one of those that we got to be able to sustain drives offensively. We did get some stops in the second half, and we didn't necessarily capitalize on them and keep their offense off the field. And they went tempo on us and kind of wore us out a little bit because they're all 2 platoon. But credit to them, and we got to continue to build on those things. And we don't sit there and say that's a moral victory for us because we still got beat, and that's not what we're out to do. We're expecting to win games. So we're excited for Friday. Come back, get a chance to go try to get a W.
Yeah. Fortunately, it doesn't get a whole lot easier. Ruidoso's the number 1 team in Class 4A now.
Yeah, and defending state champs.
Yeah. So, it's you get Ruidoso on your schedule, and we know how good that program has been for about 5, 6, 7 years now. I mean, they've been one of the most consistent teams in the southern part of the state. It's going to be a challenge for
Coach Johnson does a great job with those kids up there in that program, and he's a blessing for that community to have up there and running that thing. And they've had tremendous success the last 6 years, and it's going to continue this year. That's why they're number 1 in 4A. They got some playmakers that can go real well up front, well coached, and they run a lot of similar schemes to us. But it's exciting to go up there. W.D. Horton's a beautiful stadium up in the Cool Pines. Our kids are going to like not getting to get out of the 100-degree weather because it was hot last Friday. We went on the field. It was hot on the field. Our kids are going to love 70 degrees at pregame.
Yeah, it was definitely very, very hot last week. Looking forward and you talked about the offensive line needs to show improvement. What for you was maybe better for you guys from week 1 to 2 on the front? And obviously, what do you need to see better from the team in terms of being able to run the football the way that you want to?
We got to execute better. We executed better from week 2 to week 1. We didn't do it. We got to continue to get better at it, and that's staying on blocks, understanding the scheme. I don't think we blew a whole lot of schemes on Friday. We just didn't physically get it done, and that's something we got to get done this Friday. Is physically up front, be able to get it done to run the football. And not have to sit in a one-back set all the time and be able to put pressure on defenses to have to play run and pass.
You got your full running back allotment out there. You had Jaron this week. You had Elias out there as well. So we at least got you got an idea of what you'd expect from that rotation this year.
Yeah, we got, and like I said, we're pretty healthy right now. We got a couple of kids banged up that won't be making the trip for us, but all in all, we're healthy. We've got depth that when we lose a kid, we can plug in another kid, which is something we didn't have last year. So we're getting better in that aspect. We got 2 kids that can run the football, and we got Dakota, who's playing fullback and doing a great job, and he's going to end up getting carries here and there just because of how hard he runs.
Yeah. Receivers, I thought, you're able to get Tom and Julio and a couple other guys into the mix. And I know for you, getting Tom and Julio the football, those 2 guys can be your playmakers along with Braden and the other players. That's important for y'all.
Yeah, we want to give them the football in space and let our athletes be athletes. And we did a good job of that last week. We threw a touchdown pass to Julio, and we got Turnbull some catches. And it was nothing hard. It was just what the defense gave us, and we took advantage of it, running bubbles and our screen stuff. So we're going to continue that. We got Cameron involved as receiver, and then we got Bedgood with a couple of catches as well. So we're starting to spread it out and get all those kids involved. But we want to make defenses have to play 53.5 yards wide. Yeah. And that's our goal, and not have to load the box with 9 guys.
And Braden threw the football, I thought, exceedingly better than from week 1 to week 2.
He did. There's improvement, and there was improvement all the way around, and everybody offensively, even defensively. I thought we tackled better. We didn't blow any coverages in the secondary, and we attempted to make plays on the ball, and we got after it. And you just tip your hat to Los Lunas. They're flat out better than us last Friday.
Yeah. And you mentioned defensively, some guy. Max had another really good game. Shane had a solid game again. Mark Prather, I think, had 11 11 tackles.
Yeah, Prather had 11 tackles. Plays well.
Yeah.
he's kind of the catalyst for our defense. If how he goes and attitude-wise and energy-wise, the rest of the 10 guys kind of feed off Prather. So it's exciting to have him and have him playing well.
Yeah. I'm sure one of the big things you'll be working on is special teams a little bit this week. You guys had a few challenges there.
Yeah, we lost it on the PAT stuff. I lost my mind on the offensive lineman on that stuff. That was unheard of. But
yeah,
we practice it on Monday. It's something we cover every facet of the special teams once a day. Monday's PAT and field goal, Tuesday's punt return, and then Wednesday's kickoff return. So we cover it all the time. We went back to the basics on Monday, though, for PAT, and then we just had a bad snap from Max on the punt, and Brett did a great job of getting it off and just being able to kick it out of there. But those are things that happen when you have 16, 17-year-old kids in a moment under the lights and in a pressure situation that we got to continue to be able to play and be able to make a play in a pressure situation.
Yeah. Should be noted, on a day off from school, kids and everybody were out there bright and early on
6:30 in the morning on Monday. we were practicing.
Yeah. So everybody was dedicated to being right back out there and working at it. So as for Ruidoso, they've got what I say a solid quarterback. Is he the one that's made the transfer from Mayfield? Are they using him or are they using somebody else?
We haven't seen that kid yet.
Okay.
It's another kid.
Yeah.
They got a kid by the name of Layson Powell, who's a real good athlete. He's their best playmaker, and they split him out, and he plays safety defensively, and they've got a big horse of a running back named Leo Mora, and they run the football, and they're going to run power at us. They're going to run counter stuff at us, and they're going to throw the bubbles and tunnel screens and all that stuff, and they're going to be creative in how they do things to get Powell the ball. And one thing Coach Johnson always does is he's got some trick up his sleeve, and when he uses it and when he exposes it, but it's probably going to be on Friday. He's going to have something tricky, which is a credit to him. I mean, that's something that, as long as I've been playing against him, his kids are well coached. They're going to play their tails off for 4 quarters.
Defensively, what have you seen from them? And I mean, in terms of tape, what have you seen from them this year?
They're a 50. They've gone back to, they used to be an even front team, 4-3 type look, and now they're a true 50. Linebackers are about 3 yards, and in the previous stuff they play a lot of man and a one high look, what we call cover one, and then they'll get into a cover quarters coverage at times. So we got to be able to dictate what coverage we can force them into, and that's getting our kids like Turnbull and Mendoza and Bevan and Bedgood the football and make them not have to play man and play his own concept. But they're going to bring pressure. There's 5 or 6 are coming every play.
Yeah. Well, one thing we talked about, Garland and his ability to get away last week. I thought Braden showed some elusiveness and was able to make some plays for you guys last week. And that's going to be important that, if team bring, the other side brings 5-6 on a blitz, you seem to handle that pretty well for the most part.
He did a good job, and we blew a couple of pass pros up front, and those are on the backs. Our backs didn't go the right way, and they called the protection one way and went the wrong way. Yeah. And so that's on our backs. But Braden did a good job of making something out of nothing. And whether it was just getting back to the line of scrimmage and not putting us behind the sticks or being able to spring one for 10 yards, he did a good job of not panicking. And then he did a good job keeping his eyes down the field and still trying to be able to make a throw in a pressure situation.
Yeah. And I thought first game of the year, I was impressed with the crowd. I thought the community came out and supported the kids on Friday night.
Yeah, we had a good turnout. We still want to get more people there. Yes. And obviously that'll come with winning some more games, which we're going to try to do on Friday. But we had a good turnout from the community. The place was rocking. Our kids loved it, and our kids feed off that stuff. I asked our kids the other day, I said, what was the difference between week 1 and week 2? And we had a couple kids, Coach, we got to play at home. Yeah. I said, well, hey, we don't get to play at home for 2 weeks. We don't get to use that one, boys.
Yeah.
But they do. They really do feed off the community that comes out here and supports them and gets loud, and they got the band going and the cheerleaders, and we had that whole pregame deal going on, and it was a different environment. So our kids love being at home, and we hope this community continues to embrace them.
Yeah. Well, we encourage everybody, again, it's a short road trip, so 30, 45 minutes. It's literally right off the highway there on Highway 70, so you don't have to maybe try and figure out.
It's a little tricky to get to. You go right behind McDonald's, and you got to take a left before you get to a stop sign.
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of the roads, but you don't also have to go way back into, like where the high school is and stuff, which is where I thought.
No, it's at the stadium's right at the old high school. Yeah. So if you go, I think it's Sutterth, is that drive? Mm-hmm. If you park in that old high school, that's where the parking is to get down to the stadium. It's a beautiful stadium. It's got the best grass in the state. It's incredible what they do with that place.
There's a reason why UTEP goes up there and
yeah, it's a beautiful, and it's a beautiful scenery when you got all the pine trees up tall, and it's gonna be nice and cool. And we're excited. We're looking forward to Friday night and take on #1 team in 4A.
All right, well, we'll see how it goes, and hopefully Tigers will get to put on those logos on the side of their helmet after.
And we hope that's the goal. We need. They're looking pretty shiny and black. We got to start putting something else on them.
There you go, Coach. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, Charles.
All right, we'll take a break. Come back. More of the roundup for you here on ESPN Alamogordo 103.7.
What makes Vision Ford Lincoln Hyundai unique? At Vision Ford, we're all about you. your vision, your style, your needs, and your story. Vision is fully stocked with dozens of the hottest 2018 models, including the Ford F-Series, America's #1 selling truck for 40 years. With financing options that fit every budget and a sales team dedicated to you, Vision Ford Lincoln Hyundai continues the Yes We Can tradition. All we need is you. Visit us today at 1500 South White Sands Boulevard or 24/7 online at visionfordlincoln.com.
I'm Ed Horrell, and this is The Kindness Revolution. If you're like me, you enjoy spending some time on social media. I like keeping up with friends and family and sharing their experiences on their trips and dining and celebrations. If you're like me, you're also disappointed in some of the language and comments which are shared as well. Let me be clear that I believe in the First Amendment and our right to say what we want. However, I also believe that hiding behind that right to degrade, insult, and shame others is not what we're all about. Sometimes I roll my eyes back in my head when I observe a comment that is made by someone whom I believe one day will regret that comment when they realize that what we say on social media and the web stays there. I know personally of applicants for jobs who have been declined for interviews and offers based entirely on their social media presence. So let's all think before we post. A pretty good lesson all the way around. To learn more, check us out at thekindnessrevolution.net.
I love the food at the fair. I want to go on a roller coaster.
My wife and I had our first date at the fair.
For 80 years, the New Mexico State Fair has warmed hearts, brought families and friends together, and created lifelong memories. This year, come and celebrate everything you love about the fair.
I really like the animals in the petting zoo. I like the pygmy goats. They're funny.
The 2018 New Mexico State Fair, September 6th through 16th.
The memories are always the best.
Love is in the fair.
I guess I called AA because alcohol didn't work anymore. Drinking used to give me a sense of meaning in life. I called AA not knowing what to expect. Certainly not cheerfulness, but that's what I got. People had humor. They seemed to be at ease. I hung around. Now I feel much more comfortable with myself and the people around me. Alcoholics Anonymous. It works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or AA.org.
For the local AA hotline, call 430-9502. That's 430-9502.
The Black and Gold make the trip up Highway 70 to take on the Ruidoso Warriors. Friday, 6:45 pregame, 7 p.m. kickoff. Tigers versus Warriors on ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. It's an Arizona Bowl rematch. This Saturday, the NMSU Aggies head to Logan, Utah to face the Utah State Aggies. Pregame at 5 p.m., kickoff at 6. Only on your Aggies destination in the Basin, ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. Thinking about smothering him? Sleepwell has a better, less violent answer. A Power Base upgrade. Alleviate not only snoring, but sleep apnea and asthma, ease insomnia, improve digestion, lighten back pain, hip pain, and leg swelling, and so much more. Save up to $800 on a Power Base, plus store-wide savings on mattresses and all your bedding needs. Financing available. Sleepwell open Monday through Saturday at the corner of 1st and White Sands, or 24/7 at thesleepwell.com. When you sleep well, you live well. Fall into 0% with an OFCU Visa Platinum Card. From September 1st through the 30th, get 0% APR on new and existing OFCU credit cards. Use your Visa Platinum Card on purchase transactions and get 0% for 6 months. Wait, there's more. Transfer over your high interest rate credit cards to your OFCU Visa Platinum Card and get 0% on balance transfers for 6 months. Hurry before it's over. Limited time offer, all in subject to credit approval. Other restrictions may apply. Federal insured by NCUA. OFCU, call 800-376-9000 or oterofcu.org. ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. We'll come back into the program if you want to call in 437-1230. Thanks to Coach Cisco for joining us and giving us some insight headed out of last week and into this week against the top team in Class 4A. Had the top team in Class 5A last week. Was Los Lunas number one? Artesia might have still been number one, but Los Lunas is number one now. And now the number one team in Ruidoso. So we'll see what happens for the Tigers. Still trying to get that first win, and also I think just continue to show improvement. I think, again, if they have another better week than they did last week, that's got to be a positive for the Tigers going forward. So we'll see what happens.
what was I going to move on to? And we'll go back to where we were previously with the rest of the games from last week. We really didn't get a chance to jump into. Robertson beating Cobre. That's an interesting matchup there in Class 3A. I think both of those are now 3A schools. So 15-12 was the final score there. I know maybe don't keep as much attention to those as we normally do. Volcano Vista cruising past Del Norte. Capitan lost to Nimi. Nimi's classification up on Capitan, but that's a game that I think that the Tigers have won in recent years. Belen over Farmington, 26-12. Belen gets to go down to Artesia this weekend. And Rio Rancho fell behind huge to Pine Creek, which is out of Colorado Springs, and at least pulled it a little bit back. 45-23 was the final score there. Kind of one of those teams that I'm curious to just sort of follow along with in Pine Creek and see how much they improve as the year goes on. That'll be intriguing to watch. If that's a really good team, or if maybe we'll see how good Rio Rancho is this year. A little unsure on that possibly. Where were they ranked? I was just looking at that a second ago. Yeah, Rio Rancho's not in the top 10, so apparently the coaches don't have a whole lot to say for the Rams this year, which is surprising. It seems like every year both Rio Rancho schools are very, very good. That's about it for the Friday games. There were a couple of games that obviously stood out more than others, but Cibola beat Oñate on Saturday, and that's about it. Albuquerque High got a win over Miyamura. That's nice for Albuquerque High, and for a program that wins have obviously been a challenge for them in recent years. To come away with some victories early on in the season, I know is a big deal for that group. I think they had a decent. They were 4-6 last year. Year before 5-5, so they've definitely been better the last couple of seasons there at Albuquerque High. They were one of those programs kind of like Rio Grande is. That was a few years ago now. 15 they were 4-6. Let's see, when was the last 14? Yeah, it's way back now. They've had like right around 500 seasons pretty much every year. It was 2013 was the last really tough season for them. And they've had a couple different coaches there. Curtis Flakes and now Timothy Johnson. But yeah, Rio Grande is unfortunately the team right now, and still looking to get back on the winning track there for that program. I gotta think that'll be an exciting thing for those kids when they do get the win, and they'll get it eventually. It'll happen for sure, but just tough for them at the moment. Meanwhile, the rest of the polls. We didn't go through all of them. Class 5A, Los Lunas number 1, Belen 2, Artesia 3, Roswell 4. And you have Los Lunas getting 3 first-place votes. The remaining teams are getting 1 apiece. Then it's PV, Goddard, Valencia, Valley, Valencia, Del Norte, and Santa Teresa. It just sounds like there's not a lot of 5A coaches that are voting in that poll. Let me put it this way. They're allowing more coaches maybe to vote in the... I guess maybe it just depends on who they get back, because you got, 15 votes in 6A, 9 in 3A, 7 in 4A. 2A, meanwhile, has 13 schools that are voting in that, or coaches that are voting in that. It's a weird one. I know there's some coaches that really don't care about polls, don't care about any of that stuff. They're just not on their radar, could really give very little thought to that whole process. 4A, Ruidoso's number 1, as we mentioned, followed by Lovington, Taos, Portales, and Silver round out the top 5. 3A, Tularosa goes down to 9. I think they were at 8 last week. Socorro jumps up to 5. Robertson 1, Hope Christian 2, Hatch 3, West Las Vegas 4. And I was trying to see. And I guess Cobre not. Okay, Cobre just outside the top 10. That's who Robertson beat this last week. 2A, Cloudcroft is at 8. They've got a first place vote. I have an idea of who that might be, but I could be wrong. But usually when you see somebody a little bit down the poll who's got a first place vote, like Raton has one in 3A, Silver has one in Class 4A. Usually it's the coach of that team. Now, I don't know for sure on that, but my my logic on that seems to be pretty true, so I feel like it is. Eunice, by the way, is number 1 in Class 2A, followed by Fort Sumner, Santa Rosa, Estancia, and Escalante / Coronado, kind of like Fort Sumner is / House. Got a couple of different communities that are a part of that team. And then Texaco, Hagerman, Cloudcroft, Newcomb, Lordsburg round out the top 10, and Mescalero Apache is receiving 1 point. So probably a 10th place spot on one of the polls. And 8-man football, Melrose is number 1, and 6-man football, Animas is number 1, followed by Carrizozo. I don't know how many 6A programs there are this year. I don't think there's that many. Press page is going to run over to the Max Preps rankings. They've got La Cueva number 1 overall, followed by El Dorado, Cruces, Cleveland, and Centennial, which essentially is the same in 6A. So just a little bit of a switch there that Cleveland's number 4 on Max Preps and number 1 in the coaches poll. El Dorado's 2 in both. La Cueva is 3 in the coaches poll, 1 in the Max Preps poll. And Cruces is 5 in the coaches, 3 in the Max Preps. Centennial, kind of a little bit of a jump around for them. Manzano's a little bit further up, but I think Manzano's going to be up a little bit further based on last year more than this year. Clovis is about the same. Surprised Hobbs didn't jump into the top 10 this week with their win. They're still sitting outside the top 10. That's a little bit of a surprise to me. They are in the Max Preps poll in the top 10. So Class 5A. Fortunately, Alamogordo is still at 18 in the Max Preps poll, only ahead of Santa Fe High. Not so they're not what the Tigers want, but I think again Alamogordo's got the rankings and things like that just aren't something that anybody in that program should be concerned about or worried about. I'm sure somebody like me on the radio, the fans out there might be paying attention to that stuff, but it's still, I think for that group, it's still surprising to me. I would figure they would still be a little bit further up based on there's always carryover from last year. The top 10 over at Max Preps. Ruidoso is number 2 on the Max Preps poll. Silver is number 1 in this poll. I think there are 5 in the coaches poll, so take that for what you will. Taos, Bloomfield, Lovington, Aztec, Portales, Kirtland, St. Pius, Moriarty. Classification right now. Eunice is number 1. Fort Sumner's number 2. Santa Rosa is number 3. Estancia, number 4. And after that, Newcomb, Mission Achievement and Success, Escalante, Texaco, Hagerman, Mescalero's at 13, which is about where they're at in the coaches poll. They're getting a vote in there. So there you go. Let's see if we've got polls for... If the soccer polls have started to fill out a little bit more. Got a lot of teams that haven't been reporting, and you have to get to a certain number of, you have to play a certain amount of games in order for the rankings to trigger. So Alamo's 3 in the state, and 3 in 5A. Clovis is number 1. So no surprise after the Los Alamos tournament how that switched things up a little bit. Rio Rancho number 2. Cleveland, Hobbs, Santa Fe, Oñate, Mayfield, Roswell, Cruces, rounding out the 5A rankings. So 6-1 in the season, and I think last week they were 26th in the nation. Unfortunately, that's dropped a little bit for the Tigers. But again, that may have more to do with more teams are starting to add games, and it. I know they're 94 this week, but that may have more to do with the fact that more schools across the country are getting their stuff into Max Preps and working out that way. Not sure if the girls have. For some reason, the boys' teams get the rankings way before the girls in soccer. Yeah, no, okay, they do have rankings. Almost 16 in the state. That was the one thing I wasn't sure on there. And they're 10 in Class 5A right now. And, listen, I say it every year. The Max Preps rankings do have an impact. They look at these when it comes down to seeding in the state tournament. And if there's a tiebreaker, sometimes this is the last tiebreaker. So you could definitely say that this doesn't necessarily matter, but it has an impact. Whereas the coaches' polls or any other poll that you get anywhere else, they're just for show, man. There's really nothing else to them. The Max Preps rankings actually have an impact. Fair or not. And I feel like the NMAA has not... I feel like they've sort of used the Freeman rankings as a little bit of certainly a last ditch. They value their other criteria more, which is good, I think. It's fun, if your team, one of the local teams is ranked really highly, it's fun. But for the bubble teams, it's also tough. And it's also tough if it's really close between, 1 through 4, or maybe, getting that bye of 4 or 5. So if you're not one of the top 4 teams in football, and you can say the same for soccer, and the difference between getting a bye and not getting a bye is based on the Freeman rankings, that's tough. So it's not just making the playoffs. It's more, in my mind, of the seeding and maybe choosing where to put somebody between a 4 and a 5 or an 8 and a 9 and having to play on the road or be at home in the first round. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. More of the Roundup here on ESPN Alamogordo 103.7 right after this.
There are no roadblocks scheduled today on either Highway 70 or 54 South. For the latest roadblock information, call 575-678-1178. Tonight's forecast is calling for mostly cloudy skies, 40% chance of rain in the basin, 60% for the mountains. In Alamogordo, low of 65, Cloudcroft, low 47. For tomorrow, we're looking at mostly cloudy skies with a 40% chance of rain, a little bit better up in the mountains. Alamogordo tomorrow, high of 85, low of 61. Cloudcroft tomorrow, high of 66, overnight low of 49 degrees.
Score big with great savings at Justin's Motor Company. Hustle on down to one of Justin's 2 locations. Cars, trucks, SUVs, Jeeps, you name it, Justin's has it. Makes and models to fit any budget and the best customer service in town. One-stop online shopping makes your next car buying experience a breeze. Check out the full inventory, meet the staff, even apply online. All at justinsmotorcompany.com. 2 locations conveniently located on the Holloman Highway or 489-5820, Justin's Motor Company.
Sometimes you just need a loan. Your daughter Debbie is getting married. Your son Toby needs a new tuba. Let's face it, families cost money. Things come up that you had no way of predicting. We make personal loans for occasions like this to people who have good credit. So next time you find yourself connected to the unexpected, stop in and see us about a personal loan, subject to credit approval. First National Bank, member FDIC. When you grow, we grow.
The reliability and the customer service to turn your frustration into smiles. Now, doesn't that sound like a better plan? Call Tularosa Basin Telephone Company at 585-2700 and get connected today.
This is Brandon with Desert Sun. I'm not sure if you all know this, but Desert Sun Auto Group consists of 5 dealerships across the great state of New Mexico. This means we have 5 new car departments with over 500 vehicles to choose from and over 200 quality pre-owned vehicles. Majority of these vehicles, when bought from us, are backed with Desert Sun's life.
You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. We'll come back into the show. Just a couple of minutes left for today. Again, I like another show where we spent pretty much all our time on local stuff. If you missed the top of the show, Alamogordo girls soccer, a 3-1 defeat to Hobbs yesterday. They're off until next Tuesday when they play Mayfield to open up district. Alamogordo boys did not play yesterday. Their games against Hobbs was canceled. And Alamogordo volleyball lost straight sets to Los Lunas, very good team. And they will be at the Jane Leupold Sweet 16 tournament in Las Cruces Friday and Saturday. Pool play on Friday, and on Saturday, bracket play. So they'll play, essentially they'll get 2 matches that'll count towards their record at the end of it. But, the pool play is important too. It's, it's a taste of what, if you make the state tournament, it's a taste of what you get there. All of it matters. Let's put it that way. But in terms of wins and losses, the games on Saturday will be the ones that count towards that. But we'll do our best to keep you updated with that. And the Magdalena tournament, where Tularosa's playing, the Estancia tournament, where Mescalero's at this weekend. It is a lot going on, for sure. Lots of volleyball, no soccer, cross country on Thursday. We, of course, got lots of football on Friday. Alamo at Ruidoso, Thule hosting Lordsburg, Cloudcroft at Loving, and Mescalero taking on the Tularosa JV. I can't remember if that's in Thule or if that's in Mescalero. Let's double check on that. It is at Thule. That's what's coming up for them. All right. I think we got everything with the local stuff. If you want to listen to the interview with Coach Cisco, you can actually probably rewind it till about 20 minutes into the show, 22 minutes. But if not, we'll post the full show up on the Facebook page here before too long and get you guys all taken care of. We're excited for that and excited to get into some more high school football coming up this week. And we'll have shows Thursday and Friday for you guys that, since it's such a short trip on Friday, really no reason for me to not be here and talk with you guys coming up at the end of the week. Play-by-play coming up here on ESPN Alamogordo tonight. We've got Cubs at Brewers. A little bit of baseball for you tomorrow. The D-backs take on the Braves. Then Tiger football on Friday. Got a couple of college football games on Saturday. Georgia at South Carolina in the SEC. And then New Mexico State is at Utah State. NFL on Sunday. How about that? Niners at Vikings. Cowboys at Panthers. And, of course, the NFL season gets started tomorrow. We haven't really talked a whole lot of NFL. I remember when on this show, I used to so look forward to the days that we would spend a whole hour, previewing a season or something like that. I can't tell you what I enjoy more than anything else in the show is a show like today where we just get to chat local stuff throughout the entire program. It's my favorite thing to do. So I just like having the content to be able to do that, which has not been during the summer, is not the case. I definitely enjoy this time of year a lot more. It's fun. Good stuff. Do you have any headlines to talk about? I definitely like avoiding talking about the Nike advertisement. I have no energy left for the debate that is going on these days. No energy left to share my opinion in some of these things. People could... Somebody made the point about getting outraged that the country could, if we could take energy, like to be able to bottle the energy off of people getting outraged about things in this country. And it's on everything, from the left and the right. We wouldn't have to worry about any of that stuff anymore. Energy would be taken care of forever. Hey, you guys have a great rest of your day. Talk to you on Thursday.
Hey, this is Will Kane. You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7, Southern New Mexico's sports leader, KNMZ Alamogordo.
Steelers expect running back Le'Veon Bell to continue his holdout and miss Sunday's season opener against the Browns, barring an unforeseen development. With an eye on being healthy for free agency next March, Bell's holdout might last several more weeks, says ESPN's Adam Schefter.
At this point, I'd be surprised if we saw Le'Veon Bell report before week 1 in the opener against the Cleveland Browns. This is business, and this is Le'Veon Bell basically taking care of his body and making sure that he gets to March and free agency as healthy as possible.
Seahawks safety Earl Thomas ended his holdout, reported to the team, went through a walkthrough today, and will practice. Coach Pete Carroll said they need to gauge Thomas's conditioning before deciding if he plays Sunday. In a matchup of baseball's division leaders, the Red Sox shook off a 6-run 8th-inning deficit, came back, defeated the Braves 9-8. Men's quarterfinals of the U.S. Open live on ESPN TV. Kei Nishikori leads Marin Cilic 2-1. Women's quarters, Naomi Osaka beat Lucia Surenko 6-1, 6-1.
Want to take your ticket buying experience to the next level? Try Vivid Seats. From the hardwood to the diamond to the gridiron and concert hall, Vivid Seats has you covered for all your ticket needs. Download the free Vivid Seats app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN.
This is the Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio.
And on the ESPN app.
Le'Veon Bell is entering Kawhi Leonard territory. He's going to hold out. He's not going to show up. He's going to sell his present for a brighter future, even if that means selling the present of his current team for a team yet to be named. And just like Kawhi Leonard, his teammates are already speaking out. It's the Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, SiriusXM Channel 80, and on ESPN News. You can give me a call, 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. We'll get to Le'Veon Bell and his Kawhi Leonard path in just a moment. But I ask you this. If Le'Veon Bell does report, if Le'Veon Bell gets back to the Steelers, be it under the franchise tag or a year from now under a new contract negotiation, the pressure that will accompany him will be massive. But it wouldn't be the most. It wouldn't be the most of the new, big money, deep-pocketed guys in the NFL. I give you Odell Beckham Jr., Khalil Mack, Aaron Donald, and Aaron Rodgers. And I ask you, which one of those new money guys carry the most pressure with them into the 2018 NFL season? I think the guy with the most pressure is Aaron Rodgers. Now, you can tell me, Aaron Rodgers, we already know who he is. Aaron Rodgers is already one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's already a one-man team, and my response to you is, he better be. There is no doubt where Aaron Rodgers is in the pecking order. He's second. He's the second best quarterback in the NFL, but let's not split hairs here. It doesn't matter if he's one or if he's two. What matters is, with the type of contract Aaron Rodgers just got from the Green Bay Packers, his team will have trouble building around him with big money players. His team will be in a situation not unlike that of the Oakland Raiders, with Derek Carr's deal becoming a huge hindrance to Khalil Mack's deal. The Green Bay Packers will have a hard time putting big-time defenders next to Aaron Rodgers, big-time receivers on the outside of Aaron Rodgers, or running backs and offensive linemen to help him along the way. Aaron Rodgers' deal will require him to be the exact thing that he is. Superman. A one-man show. A one-man team. Everyone uses that as a compliment when they talk about Aaron Rodgers. But that compliment has just become a burden. Aaron Rodgers may be a one-man team, but in 2018, and perhaps going forward, he's going to have to be a one-man team. And if I were selecting a second place for what it's worth, if it weren't Aaron Rodgers and I was asking who had the most pressure on them based upon their new contract and the new commitment by their team, my second place finish would be Khalil Mack. What the Chicago Bears just gave up in draft capital and in dollar signs for Khalil Mack, he better be a game changer in Chicago. 2 1s, a 3, a 6. He better be a game changer for Chicago, because they've banked a lot of their future on that one player. Chris in Michigan. You're on the Will Cain Show, Chris. What's up?
Hey, Will, love the show. I agree with your pick with Aaron Rodgers, just because he doesn't really have a scapegoat. There's no one else to fall back on. With Odell Beckham, they can blame Eli or the new coach or the new system. And with Khalil Mack, if he doesn't live up to the contract, they're going to blame the management in Chicago. But there's no one else in Green Bay to hold the buck except for Aaron Rodgers.
Appreciate the call, Chris. Brandon in Minnesota. You're on the Will Cain Show. What's up, Brandon?
Hey, Will. Thanks for taking the call. I think Kirk Cousins is under the most pressure, honestly. I mean, getting rid of a quarterback like Case Keenum, who almost took us to the Super Bowl last year, and then picking up Kirk Cousins, I just don't think he's that good of a quarterback, to be honest.
Well, I think it's a great point, Brandon. I appreciate the call, because Kirk Cousins has to be 1.5 games better than the Vikings were last year. There's massive pressure on Kirk Cousins, and it's quantifiable. We know exactly how much better Kirk Cousins has to be. 1.5 games better. But one thing Kirk Cousins has going for him in Minnesota that apparently neither the Oakland Raiders or the Green Bay Packers or anyone else that I've been able to identify yet is they've got some kind of voodoo math going on, some kind of voodoo economics, some kind of salary cap specialist up there that keeps Kirk Cousins being paid, Stephon Diggs paid, Anthony Barr, Xavier Rhodes, Danielle Hunter. Somehow Minnesota is exempt from the plague of the rest of the NFL. Well, if we pay this guy, how do we pay that guy? That brings me to this, which we talked about a little bit later, a little bit earlier on the Will Cain Show, which you can get on Apple, iTunes, or the ESPN app podcast. The Will Cain Show is presented by Progressive Insurance. Remember, you can watch all 3 hours of the show on ESPN News. We talked about this earlier. How many teams in the league, for that matter, are true Super Bowl contenders? How many teams in the NFC? How many teams in the AFC? And how many teams can you say will be contenders for the future, that have potential, that have a window that's not only open, but a window that's already and still opening up, raising a bright future? In the NFC, I can name 4. I can tell you the Los Angeles Rams, now and into the years to come. The Philadelphia Eagles, rookie quarterback deal I'm talking about, still to build around. The Philadelphia Eagles didn't just win a title, they've got a window where the future is still brighter. The Minnesota Vikings, which we just talked about, and I believe the Dallas Cowboys, all have futures that are bright, that have title contention as part of their DNA, their strategy, their plan. Realistic optimism. How many in the AFC? I'm talking about, take the Steelers and the Patriots out of this equation. Not just is your window open now, but is your window going to stay open? Is it going to open larger? Because the truth of the matter is, I can't find one. I can't find an AFC version of the Rams, the Eagles, of the Cowboys, or the Vikings. We can talk about the Texans, and you can talk about maybe the Chiefs, but they're not there yet. And there's a little bit of distance down the hallway until you get to that open window. By the way, did you guys see this article? Was it by Mike Reese, Rudy, that in the history of the New England Patriots, this set of weapons that Tom Brady is dealing with, this set of receivers, and these running backs are the worst of his career, the worst of the dynasty. And as we talked about which AFC teams have a bright future, have a title window that's opening, it's Rudy, because he's a naysayer, a general negative presence,
realist,
poo-pooed the Texans and poo-pooed the Chiefs. But we pointed out, what would Tom Brady do for the Chiefs' weapons? Outside of the Steelers, and maybe even including the Steelers, especially without Le'Veon Bell, who has a better set of weapons in the league than the Kansas City Chiefs? Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Kareem Hunt, Travis Kelce. Who's got a better set of weapons than Pat Mahomes? And if the Chiefs are going to be title contenders, Pat Mahomes is going to have to be the man to get the ball to all those weapons. Give me a call. 888-SAY-ESPN. Sell me on an AFC team that has a championship window that's about to open like the handful of NFC teams I could rattle off. And what will come of Le'Veon Bell's Kawhi Leonard play? That's next on the Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. It's been a long offseason without football, but FanDuel has been getting into the best shape of their lives. That means this. FanDuel's ready for more. More ways to play, more ways to challenge your friends, and most importantly, more ways to win. And FanDuel also has new options for playing fantasy football, daily fantasy with your friends. Because the only thing better than winning cash is winning your friends' cash. They even have preseason fantasy contests running up to week 1 of the NFL. Right now, you can get a $20 bonus when you make your first deposit on FanDuel. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/Will Cain. That's WILLCAIN. Age and state restrictions apply. Who's got the championship window opening in the AFC? That's next on the Will Cain Show.
Kane. The Will Kane Show is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests appear on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Will Kane gives you more. Next.
Hey, grilling fans, listen up. The sun is shining, temps are rising. And if there's one thing we know about summer, it's that this kind of weather doesn't last for long. So grab your grill, ignite those coals, and throw on some burgers, steaks, all your favorites. Because once this fire starts burning, the good times are sure to start rolling. Kingsford, start something.
What does building a better bank look like? It starts with building Capital One cafes, warm, inviting places that feel nothing like a typical bank, where you can open an account with no fees or minimums in 5 minutes. And you'll always find people ready to help you, not sell you. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Offered by Capital One N.A. member FDIC. Cafes available in select locations. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
There are no roadblocks scheduled today on either Highway 70 or 54 South. For the latest roadblock information, call 575-678-1178. Tonight's forecast is calling for mostly cloudy skies, 40% chance of rain in the basin, 60% for the mountains. In Alamogordo, low of 65, Cloudcroft, low 47. For tomorrow, we're looking at mostly cloudy skies with a 40% chance of rain, a little bit better up in the mountains. Alamogordo tomorrow, high of 85, low of 61. Cloudcroft tomorrow, high of 66, overnight low of 49 degrees.
This week, legendary broadcaster Paul Harvey would have been 100 years old. 100! Page 2. See us today at Jack Key Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. There's simply nothing like what we have here. Here's Jack Key's own Casey Vega.
It's the Labor Day sales event. It's winding down. Savings has been continued. Get up to $4,000 total cash on select Jeep Renegade models and up to $3,000 on select Jeep Grand Cherokee models. We are blowing out the 2018s. So come on down and make us an offer. I mean, no reasonable offer will be refused, and as we like to say, some unreasonable offers will be accepted too.
Absolutely. So make that unreasonable offer today. And now you know the rest of the story. See us at Jack Key Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Alamogordo on Highway 70 West.
Every great drive starts with a key.
Good day.
Trucks, we got them. Cars, we got them. SUVs, we got them at jackkey.com.
What can Big O Tires do for you? They offer trained and certified ASC technicians, nationwide warranty protection, and state-of-the-art equipment. Services include oil, lube, and filter, batteries, brakes, and alignment. Big O strives to provide dependable and expert service at a great price, a wide range of diagnostic, maintenance, and repair services backed by one of the best national warranties. 621 North White Sands in Alamogordo, 1305 North Main Street in Roswell, and 26131 Highway 70 in Rodoso. Big O Tires.
Garner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Buying a home should be one of life's best experiences, but today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher payments. And that can turn a great experience into an anxious one. At Quicken Loans, we've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. It's called the Power Buying Process. We check your income, assets, and credit to provide you with a verified approval, which can give you the strength of a cash buyer. Once verified, you qualify for our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days while you find your new home. Then, once you've found your new home, if rates have gone up, your rate stays locked. But if rates have gone down, your rate drops, and you get to keep that new lower rate. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Hey, grilling fans, listen up. The sun is shining, temps are rising. And if there's one thing we know about summer, it's that this kind of weather doesn't last for long. So grab your grill, ignite those coals, and throw on some burgers, steaks, all your favorites. Because once this fire starts burning, the good times are sure to start rolling. Kingsford, start something.
Let's talk about Ryan. Way back in May, he wasn't a company man. He was a stay-at-home dad. This August, less than 3 months later, Ryan started his information technology career, doing something he loves, driving a company car. Don't love what you do? Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You could start your new life as an IT pro in months, not years, months. Classes meet on campus or live online 2 or 3 times a week. It's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. mycomputercareer.edu.
The Roundup, your local connection to sports in the Tularosa Basin, weekdays 2 to 3 p.m. Only on ESPN Alamogordo 103.7.
Their goals, what they want to happen, may be different. But the method that both Kawhi Leonard and Le'Veon Bell have now embarked on to accomplish their goal is remarkably similar, and the reaction they're getting from their teammates is also starting to sound the same. It's the Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, SiriusXM Channel 80, and ESPN News. Kawhi Leonard, whether it was because of injury or negotiation, did not report to the San Antonio Spurs for months and months on end until he was ultimately traded to the Toronto Raptors. San Antonio Spurs were willing to pay Kawhi Leonard. He wanted out. He wanted to be a Laker. And he didn't show up to accomplish his goal. Le'Veon Bell wants to get paid. He's happy to remain a Steeler, but he doesn't want to play under the franchise tag. He wants to hit free agency, and he wants his full payment, and now he wants to preserve himself. Not unlike a guy who says he has a quad injury, he wants to preserve himself against wear, tear, and injury in the open market. His goals might be different, but his method's the same. He's not reporting to Steelers' training facility. He's not, at this moment, looking to be available for Week 1 in the NFL. What did we hear from the San Antonio Spurs along the way? We heard guys like Tony Parker, Greg Popovich begin to speak critically of Kawhi Leonard. And according to some reports, those were the moment of truth for Kawhi when he decided, I'm not going to be a Spur, when he heard things that Parker said. And today, what are you hearing from the Pittsburgh Steelers regarding Le'Veon Bell? This from Ed Bouchette, reporting what Ramon Foster, veteran guard, had to say. He said the following: what do you do? Here's a guy who doesn't give a damn. I guess so we'll treat it as such. I just hate that it came to this. Foster with more. He's making 7 times what I make, twice as much as Al Villanueva is making, and we're the guys who do it for him. Ramon Foster with yet more. My mom died, and I went to the funeral and came to camp the next day. Al has seen people die, and he's come and given his all to this team. It's a little bit tiresome now. I'm tired of the antics. That's Ramon Foster. Marquise Pouncey also had things to say. Both guys, Kawhi Leonard, Le'Veon Bell, choosing to use their presence as a negotiating chip. And both guys' teammates sounding off in opposition. I've also asked you today, which AFC teams have their title window opening? Not the Pats and Steelers, whose window is firmly open, but you can't look into the future and go, yep, more of the same, future is brighter. But I'm talking about arriving on the cusp, like the Rams, like the Vikings, hell, like the Eagles, and I think like the Cowboys. You can tweet the show. Which AFC teams can you point to, because I can't come up with any, that are like that handful of teams in the NFC that are primed to give them Super Bowl dominance for 5 to 10 years? Tweet the show through the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed at Will Cain Show. Nothing makes up for your football obsession like a surprise from 1-800-Flowers.com. To order a dozen multicolored roses, plus an extra bouquet and a vase for just $29.99, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. Chad in Pennsylvania, you're on the Will Cain Show.
Hey, Will. So I disagree with Cerruti. I do think that the Chiefs are there. But one team I think a lot of people sleep on as a up-and-coming team is the Titans. Marcus Mariota, 24 years old, brought the team to the playoffs last year, has a top 3, potentially top 5 tight end in Delaney Walker, gets Dion Lewis to add to Derrick Henry to provide a little pass catch ability out of the backfield and a defense that can make plays when needed. So I think that's a team that people sleep on, maybe because they play in not exactly the strongest division in the conference.
All right, Chad, I appreciate the call. The teams that I listed that are probable, that have some semblance of hope, that have some idea of the window cracking would be the Houston Texans, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Tennessee Titans. But when it comes to a team like the Titans, they're down the hallway looking through the room, seeing that there might be a crack, the window might be opening. I don't know yet that I could see Marcus Mariota guiding his team to a Super Bowl. I don't know that the Titans at best arrive at the Dallas Cowboys level of window opening, but they're certainly not at the Rams, Vikings, and obviously Eagles level. And the truth is, I don't think the Chiefs are there yet either. This is more the prospect of the window opening. With teams like the Texans and the Chiefs, they might soon have potentially an open window, but not now. With the Rams, Eagles, Vikings, and yes, I think the Cowboys, that window is now, and you can say for the next 3 to 5 years, that window gets larger. Kyle in Indiana, you're on the Will Cain Show.
Hey, well, how you doing? Love your show. What about the Colts? Colts are returning, with Andrew Luck coming back from his injury. We haven't seen him healthy in 2 years, and he missed a whole year. I mean, we still have T.Y. We have a decent receiving core. We have a nice young defense. They, when Luck was healthy, we moved up from wild card to divisional to AFC Championship.
Kyle.
What about the Colts?
Kyle.
Yep.
Come on, man. The Colts roster is atrocious. You have Andrew Luck. Watch this, okay? I'm surrounded by guys that talk sports on a day-to-day basis. I'm talking guys who live, eat, and breathe sports. So here we go. Travis, I want you to name an Indianapolis Colt. But wait, you can't use Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hilton, or Malik Hooker. Name an Indianapolis Colt.
I'm with you.
Come on.
Malik Hooker.
Nope. Can't say Malik Hooker, Bucknuts. Can't go with that. Mike A? Come on, Mike. Name a Colt besides those three guys.
Other than Jack Doyle, Marlon Mack.
Ah!
You don't want any of those guys?
My man plays fantasy football.
You're damn right.
Cerruti, could you have done it?
Yeah, Quentin Nelson, right? The guy they just drafted.
They just drafted him. That's right.
Yeah. There you go. What's the BC guy, left tackle, Costanzo? Left tackle, right?
Oh, Anthony.
Nailed it.
To be
Is
fair,
Bjorn Werner still on the team?
To be fair, I don't think Bjorn Werner is still there. To be fair to Kyle in Indianapolis, could you look here? Can you name a Titan? No, let's up the ante really quick. I want you to name 3 Tennessee Titans. You can't name Marcus Mariota, Derrick Henry. That's it. Name 3 Titans. Not Derrick Henry or Marcus Mariota. Go, Rudy.
Delaney Walker.
Yes.
Deion Lewis. And is the McCourty twin still on that team? One of them?
I don't know. But you could have gone Byard.
No. The McCourtys are both.
Taro Luan, the guy, Jack Conklin, the guy that they called.
The guy called in earlier and rattled off the names. That's why he could do it.
Yes, nailed it.
Okay, hold on. Name 3 Bengals. Not Andy Dalton, not A.J. Green, not Joe Mixon. Go, Travis. And you're Ohio. You are Ohio.
I don't like the Bengals, though.
Name a Bengal outside of those 3.
T.J. Houshmandzadeh.
Oh, I see you, Mike. You so badly. You're like a kid in the classroom with your hand up.
I'm just disappointed in Travis. I mean, I thought he would at least get, Gio Bernard, Geno Atkins, Tyler Eifert.
Let's do this. Okay, hold on. Let's rehabilitate Travis really quickly. Travis, give me the 2 deep on the Ohio State Buckeyes defensive line. Go.
Joey Bosa, Chase Young, Jonathan Cooper, Draymond Jones. Do you want me to keep going? Or
said 2 deep that you got the starting 4.
Garrett Haskell. Who else are we missing?
I don't know. This is compelling, though. It's great. Coming up, let's go to Seattle. Does Brock Huard think Earl Thomas ends up as a Cowboy, or does he stay with the Seahawks? Plus, his biggest takeaway from college football's opening weekend is the Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Golic and Wingo's Fall Football Tour rolls on. Presented by Progressive Insurance. Also brought to you by Granger and Dr. Pepper. Live from Green Bay. Friday, 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
When a player doesn't like a contract, what do? They hold out? They hold out for a better deal. If only you could do that with your wireless plan, right? Well, with the Keep Your Own Phone plan from Straight Talk Wireless, you can get a much better deal. Keep your phone, your number, even your same network for a lot less than you're paying now. Without the contract or the holdout.
Get the Ultimate Unlimited plan for just $55 a month on America's largest, most dependable 4G LTE networks. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Video typically streams at DVD quality at 60 gigabytes. We reserve the right to review your account for usage in violation of Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Pros in the know start with Lowe's, because Lowe's has the tool brands pros count on every day, like Hitachi. Right now, you can get a free compact 3-amp-hour battery when you buy any Hitachi cordless nailer or brushless tool. Plus, save time by ordering ahead online, and your order will be ready for pickup at our Pro Desk. Stop by or visit Lowe'sForPros.com for details. So, Pro, now that you know, start with Lowe's. Offer valid through 10/24 while supplies last, U.S. only.
The SEC season opener.
Columbia, it's going to be rocking in that building, man.
Georgia and South Carolina are expected to fight for the SEC East title. Could this be the game that determines who represents the East in the SEC championship? Coverage begins Saturday at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Presented by Dr. Pepper.
Hey, y'all, we're taking the Marty Party to a whole new level with the Marty Smith's America podcast with Jake Peavy.
I'm going to show up at spring training with somebody. I think the game, at the end of the day, is trending in a way that plays to my advantage of exhausting what you have for 30 pitches, for 60 pitches. It's not like the days when I played and thought if you didn't throw 7 innings and that wasn't achieved in a start, it didn't matter what the rest of the line looked like. You didn't do your job.
The Marty Smith's America podcast on the ESPN app and Apple Podcast.
So it all comes down to this. How will it play out? Are you kidding me? Oh, my. He's playing fantasy football with ESPN. Now Sundays are going to be even better because there's a big difference between just watching football and feeling football. ESPN Fantasy Football with IBM Watson. Feel the fantasy. Sign up now at ESPN.com.
Wildcats against their division foe from Florida. And this is SEC Saturday night. Benny Snell Jr. with a hole. Benny Snell Jr. bursts free. Frank's jump pass. Hello, TiVo.
SEC Saturday night, presented by Holiday Inn Express. Kentucky versus 25th ranked Florida. Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on the SEC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app.
The NFL on ESPN Radio. After 5 straight years reaching the postseason, the 2017 Seahawks found themselves on the outside looking in.
Floats it for the end zone. Does he hang on? Intercepted!
Will they be back this year? It won't be an easy start as they head to Mile High Stadium to face Von Miller and the Broncos. Coverage begins Sunday at 4 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Presented by Vivid Seats.
The U.S. Open celebrates 50 years of tennis from the city that never sleeps. Reigning champion Rafael Nadal sets out to defend his title.
Rafa makes it look easy on the hard courts of New York.
While Novak Djokovic and Serena Williams look to light up the Big Apple in the final major of the year.
There's no stopping Serena, perhaps the best to ever play the game.
The U.S. Open, first ball to last ball coverage continues through September 9th on the networks of ESPN.
Well, Trey, Bears-Packers rivalry got a lot more interesting.
I mean, Roquan Smith and now Khalil Mack, that defense is going to be scary.
And they're going up against their division rivals, the Packers, on opening weekend. And we'll be there.
Live from the Tundra Trio in Green Bay, bus driver, honk that horn.
Golic and Wingo's Fall Football Tour, presented by Progressive Insurance. Also brought to you by Granger and Dr. Pepper. Live from Green Bay, Friday, 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
The NFL on ESPN Radio. Fresh off securing a contract that makes him the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history.
2010 touchdown.
Hooked Odell Beckham now shows us why he deserves it. Jalen Ramsey and the Jacksonville Jaguars head to MetLife Stadium in a big Week 1 showdown. The Giants and Jaguars. Coverage begins Sunday at noon Eastern on ESPN Radio. Presented by Vivid Seats.
ESPN Alamogordo 103.7, your home for New Mexico State University sports in the Tularosa Basin.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The